Hello, and welcome to Follow the Woo podcast, where each week I, Fenelon Kush, will guide you on a journey into the land of the woo. We're going to investigate witchcraft, meditations, the paranormal and supernatural, alien and fae encounters, gurus, shamanism, and all the woo. So hold on to your butt. This just might be the weirdest part of your day. Hello, everyone. This episode 0 is just a little intro about me and my journey so you know who will be chatting in your ears each week. I also want to go over what I mean by the woo and why I follow it. So, what is the woo? Throughout recent history, woo or woo-woo has generally been a derogatory term for someone who readily seeks out and accepts supernatural, magical, mystical, paranormal shit. It's also the actual inexplicable esoterica and or spiritual theories, practices, philosophies that don't fit into the status quo of everyday human quote-unquote reality. It's often a derogatory term, or at least it started as a derogatory term, because it's not easily proven or disproven by science. So science and the woo, they don't go together. Well, I actually think that they go great together, and many quantum physicists agree with me. But we don't have time to go into that this episode. We are going to loop back around to quantum physics for sure. Maybe more than once. Who knows? We've got like the goop woo-woo, Gwyneth Paltrow's very expensive version of the woo. We've got that going on. And we also have like the New Age movement, which was a bit more popular in, I'd say like the 80s and 90s, maybe like teensy bit of the 2000s. That New Age movement has now kind of expanded, and we've become, generally speaking, a little bit more open-minded about the woo. And it's definitely where I live in Los Angeles. It's very alive and well. Everyone here is a little bit woo-woo. Okay, so why do I follow the woo? The short answer is because I have to. It's just the way I am. Also, I think the status quo of everyday human quote-unquote reality is pretty boring. So following the woo is kind of like my lifestyle. I've been crazy curious about all things mystical and magical and supernatural since I was really little. Whether it's an in-depth conversation with a stranger about astral projection, or it's a research hole about gray aliens, or actual physical participation in a mystical experience, I will follow the woo wherever it takes me, for better or worse. And oh, just you wait, there will be some times where I will share some of the worse versions of that end of the spectrum. When I try to ignore the woo and live like, normal life, whatever that means, and try to conform to what's expected, the woo like sneaks into my dreams, and it crops up in these like weird and unexpected places. And it's just like, you can run, but you can't hide. All right, who's this podcast for? It's for woo seekers and witches and weirdos and other general magical, mystical folks. That's pretty obvious. But it's also for those who just want to dip their toes in these curious waters. Maybe you secretly want to get a tarot reading, but you think you'll get made fun of by your family or friends. Or maybe you're bored out of your mind with the 9-to-5 job life, and there's this knocking in the back of your mind that's reminding you that there's something more. Or not. Maybe you're just interested in weird stuff. I don't know. This podcast is also for experiencers. Maybe you experienced something that was so synchronistic, it totally creeped you out. Or maybe you saw a ghost once or twice or 10 times or many ghosts. Oh my gee. Or you had a dream premonition, or you got stuck in sleep paralysis, or you witnessed something that you haven't shared with anyone and it's been haunting you. This podcast and the Order of Woo community is for you. The Order of Woo is essentially the community that you can be involved in, where the primary communication will be done on Patreon. I so hope you join the Order, and if not, we'll just have a tiny baby coven, and it'll be totes adorbs. So who the hell am I? My name is Fen Alonkush. I am a queer empath witch and storyteller. I'm obsessed with discussing mystical and magical woo topics with all the humans, and then maybe some like other entities too. I'm not going to judge. Since I was about 16 years old, I've been on this roundabout, truth-seeking journey trying to find the answers of the universe. Those basic questions. Why are we here? Where did we come from? And what are we working toward as a species? For those of you who are X-Files fans, I'm definitely a Mulder. I am a believer. I want to believe even more, and I want to talk to anybody who's had out of the ordinary experiences. I am mining for the story. I have a friend who is a very amazing, famous photographer, and she always told me, your job is to tell the story. Go in and create rapport, find that story, and then tell it. I don't have all the resources that the FBI does, but I have taken college courses on various religions. I've worked and mentored with shamans. I've studied with gurus and yogis. I've participated in multiple silent meditation courses. I've gone on various healing diets, many of which were not fun. And I've experimented with dozens of healing arts and practices. Those include Reiki, craniosacral therapy, crystal work, acupuncture, remote healing, past life regressions, aura cleansing, sound baths, psychic readings, sweat lodges, Wiccan rituals and initiations, Buddhist chanting, kirtan, numerology, astrology, divination. The list goes on and on and on. I'm telling you this so that you know I've got a little bit of experience here, and I think it's a really great foundation. Throughout this crazy journey, I've learned a few things. First thing is, there aren't really any concrete answers. And just when I think I've figured it out, I get like a curveball and I'm in a whole new realm of what the fuckery. In my experience, the deeper you go, the weirder it gets. The second thing, the central foundation of almost all religions and spiritualities and mysticisms is essentially the same. We are all connected. I don't care if you're a Catholic priest or a neophyte witch or a staunch atheist. The woo is still for you. Third thing, talking about the woo can be super healing. If curiosity is encouraged, the woo usually brings people together and makes them excited. I mean, come on, the X-Files wasn't on TV for like over a decade for nothing. Okay, I understand. I'm getting a cue that I need to stop talking about the X-Files. Okay, for many of us in the Western world, we live so much of our lives in a surface paradigm of comparison, competition, and blind ambition. Ugh. We conform and consume and mimic what society tells us is appropriate and necessary for a happy life. But we're not happy. Most people I know don't have lives they love, or even close, and a lot of them are also pretty bored. So when I subtly or not so subtly start talking with them about deep, magical, woo stuff, they almost always light up. Because, and here's the fourth thing, kids are the most woo. And we were all kids once, remember? Many spiritual teachers say that the idea of finding yourself is just remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. It's not finding who you are, it's remembering who you are. And remembering how magic we are is exciting and healing and can be life-changing. I realized I wanted to create a space where I could share some of this and also keep learning from and investigating with others. I don't love small talk. I never have. I kind of don't get it. If you know me, you know I'm not terribly good at it. I want to jump into the nitty-gritty, deep shit right away. So that's a bit about me, your host, and your new woo friend. Through stories, investigations, interviews, experiments, on-site adventures, and more, this will be a safe and inclusive space to explore the witchiest, weirdest, most woo-woo topics. Like I said, I don't have concrete answers for you, but I do have a lot of experience and a lot of burning existential questions and a forever curiosity about all things woo. This is hopefully just the beginning of our deep dive into the woo together. All right? Okay, follow the woo. Thank you for following the woo with me today. If you love what you heard, please make sure to subscribe to Follow the Woo wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're feeling particularly stoked about this show, please leave a review and or rating. You can also support this podcast by becoming a member of the Order of Woo, where you'll get community access and loads of extra goodies exclusively on Patreon. That's patreon.com/followthewoo. The Order of Woo patrons bolster this podcast and community and allow for the creation of more content, products, services, and events over time. Every little bit helps, and I'm so grateful for the patrons who have joined the order already. If you've experienced something magical, mystical, or just downright weird and want to discuss it, or if you're interested in sharing your expertise, or if you want me to research a woo topic with you or for you, please email me at followthewoo@gmail.com. Join me next week for another woo topic, and remember, tell the truth, be nice to each other, and if it feels right,